my hotkeys broke. Very awkward.
My Google assistant.
So your Google assistant is summoned by screaming?
You forgot to cast the stream spell.
Oh, I did. That's a very important part of streaming. Hello, and welcome to Jarviskjir Mind Over Matter. As you can tell, it's hot, and therefore I don't care. We're playing it loose. We're playing it by the seats of our pants here today. Those of us that are wearing pants. And
I feel called out.
Hey, I didn't call anyone out in particular.
I thought y'all called underwear pants in the U of K.
Yes, technically, but that's just one of those ones I've just had to shed.
Ollie is half American.
I've just shed that one. I'm not having that discussion. You know, I'm just like, no, everyone should know that that's what I mean, and I'm just gonna ethereally move away. Yeah, I'm in a weird spot.
It's like whenever I talk about the first floor, I'm like, that's the ground floor.
No matter who you're talking to, someone's gonna get confused.
Yeah.
Hey, it's episode 2 of chapter 2. We're all super excited. And I think we're probably ready to just sort of jump up in there and get going. If you didn't see the last session, basically setting up a new chapter in the story of these people's lives, where by and large you're going to be pursuing Bogdan's quest to reclaim the Blackjaw, the throne of the Deep Dwarf Kingdom of Abanir. Just before you actually had an update with Ulksua, the person who bound you together. Now you're not really officially working for her, but her goal as leader of the Ebamari, or at least voice of the Ebamari, is a long-lasting peace. So you have similar ideals, and you also all kind of owe her in some ways and don't trust her in other ways, etc., etc. And she came and
in some ways.
Yeah, but you did manage to actually get her aid if you can go to Kavanari on the way, which you will be doing. You also, Oshun got married to Cinnabel, which is nice.
Amazing. Describe drow cake. Would it either be A, 5 stories tall, ridiculously ornate and black, or B, there is no cake because cake is an indulgence and you're not allowed it?
I think
it's licorice. You just get licorice.
Licorice does sort of sound like a thing that drow would have. I think we've definitely described a lot of confectionaries, but I think they would be either so small that you have like a little, or so big you're not meant to eat it all. It's not meant to be consumed. It's meant to be looked at, and there might be a nice little pretty piece. You know, very wasteful.
Definitely. A combination of those at the wedding. But the thing is that Oshun's so big that she's just
yeah. There has been no adaptation for size. Because why would there be? So this session actually starts with you off on the road again towards the Dwarven Kingdom of Abanir, but also the kind of alliance city of Kavanari, where you can sort of pick up information and the aid from Ulksua. You guys got back with your trusty beetle opper and the palanquin on their back, and starting to head on out. Who is the beetle handler for most of this journey? You know, who's driving?
The beetle doesn't drive itself?
The beetle does not drive it. Well, on well-made roads, the beetle will just follow them. The great server beetles, which are the size of elephants, are intelligent enough to follow like a command of left or right and to make them pay attention. but they do usually want to have a driver. Like when you were going back and forth between the Fanged Ruins, like Ocean was usually kind of corralling to make sure that he was on the right track. But they're smart enough to be like, well, I'm following the road. I'm staying on the left. I'm following the road. But you drive on the left, of course.
Yeah, I will. That's wrong, but I will drive.
I'm going to deliberately drive on the right. Just to, I have a old player who would have gone, well, I'm going to deliberately drive on the right because that's what I think is the way to go.
That's how we do it in Avenir, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Once you
Narashiro
get across the
roads are
border, you
backwards.
gotta. And then in Ebamaro, you just float over everything. So it like doesn't matter.
Yeah,
at
it's
all.
not so much left or right as above or below.
Yes, that would be totally a thing as well, of like having beetles that have been trained to be completely self-driving. Like, imagine paying for that. That's just decadence. Because we also described how there would definitely be like different decorations of beetle. You want like the newest model, or they've been branded specifically for the sheen and the shaping. Whereas you just have a big, soft boy with a big palanquin on the back.
Yeah. I imagine there are some that are bred to have little noises because they like the noises that the forward momentum makes. These beetles just go.
Yeah. Those are the gnomish ones.
God, I hate it.
See, this was the thing I was saying before, how I don't have sound effects for giant beetle walking, because it wouldn't be that distracting. But it was more the steps, you know? That would probably be more what you hear. Yeah, so it's pretty easy going. Honestly, Narashiro to Kavanari, it's a main road. Well posted, well guarded. Not that overgrown. Interestingly enough, we started this campaign during the cold season. But since then, round about half a year has passed. I actually did the math a couple of days ago. And so we've gone right with the kind of time skip of last session. By the time you're leaving, it's the beginning of the warm season in the Underrealm. That's how you tell time, because there are very definite seasons where the environment changes pretty drastically. Now, around Narashiro, it's not that different in the warm season. It's warmer. But as you'll start to get more eastwards, there'll be definite changes in terrain. Is there anything any of y'all want to do during the journey before you get to Kavanari? Is there anything you want to kind of stop and check out? Any, you know, otherwise it'll just be a swoop, couple of weeks pass.
I'm good.
On the baby.
Yeah, you've got a baby to take care of. That's probably why you're not driving.
Yeah.
Do you
So
want...
this baby is 3 months old?
Probably right now,
1
as you're
month.
leaving, 1 month.
So none of us are getting any sleep. Got it.
No, well, this baby screams more than most elf babies, but elf babies aren't that loud in general. Yeah. But it's probably like, oh, this is a long day, it was difficult. The beetle got stuck trying to eat some dew off a mushroom. We had to kind of wrangle it away. Really want some sleep. And that's the day the baby decides to cry. That's the one, you know? And like, you know, he's
Yes,
like mad about it.
I do know.
Do you want to continue teaching Ashal Dwarven during the nights and stuff?
Yes.
Definitely.
Oh, romantic. To help Vishal get over the loss of.
Do you just ship a show with everyone?
Yeah.
Because Ashal is just this lonely little shit. Just want to be happy.
Fair.
So yes, I do.
Romance isn't the only way to happiness. Dark magic is also a route.
And
Yeah.
he is getting there. He is getting there. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I imagine for Ashal, the journey time in the back is like studying and learning Dwarven. Mostly it. Okay, great.
How do floaty squid guys wear glasses?
You've seen them. The same. They're
They
just made
they
for
float
different.
in front of them.
They're just different. They fit the heads different.
I just want their tentacle to like become a little nose.
That would be like, well, it would be like holding a mask up to your face all day. So probably sometimes amongst the most colourful Ebamari.
Just imagining one with a monocle now.
Well, that you met one with a monocle.
Did we?
Mm.
Oh yes, of course we did.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
I can't remember what they were called or anything, but I do remember that. Yes.
I
It's not
also recall.
I'm sure it'll never come up again. So, I mean, also, I want to talk about shipping. We're literally playing the Witcher 3 romance music right now. Let me get something else. Okay, as you start going from Narashiro's caverns, the weeks of journey are going through Fungal Forest. Now, the Fungal Forest visibly recedes during the warm season, in part due to the dry season beforehand, but the trees just aren't as big. The fungal life isn't as wild and dynamic, leading it to being a little bit quieter. But when you're getting closer to the Dwarven lands and the trees start to fade, you get a lot more rough, rocky terrain and the occasional geothermal vent. Just areas where the ground has sort of opened up around a hillock, and they do belch out heat and black smoke up into the air that kind of forms in the cloud at the top of the caverns. These are increasingly more common the more towards the Dwarven lands you get, and by the time you're getting near Cavernari, which is kind of just under the Dwarven kingdoms, they're pretty common. Not to the point where it causes any breathing difficulties, although Ocean might be like a little bit worried. But it's definitely a thing. Once you get pretty close to Cavernari, there is basically this tunnel that connects to both Cavernari, Ebamaro, and to the north, Abanir, right? Last time you went through this the other way round, going from Cavernari to Narashiro. Entering it from this angle, you get more perspective of the Dwarven side of the wall. The main entrance between the Deep Dwarves and the Ebamaro is a different gate that I described the first time you passed it, but there are areas where there are holes in the caves, either from tunneling beasts or natural erosion, and there's usually Dwarven fortifications on those segments that are as imposing as they're, meant to be, not particularly terrifying or anything, and not usually seeming very manned. It's actually before you get to Cavernari, you see one of these places where you probably could pass into Abanir, but you have to go to Cavernari first. It's just a bit past that gate while you're traveling on the well-traveled road that it'd be Bogdan who is in front who would notice. Traveling along the road, there are traders, there are merchants, there are other people, but there are not so many people on foot because it's not that efficient. There is an Ebamari coming from the north, as if they'd come from the Dwarven land, floating haphazardly, kind of swaying, almost like stumbling, but still with a very controlled float, right? Is when you kind of look at them more, you see that their arms are kind of outstretched before them, and so are their tentacles, and their eyes are just swallowed by light. Just this white light is just kind of, it's not beaming out of their eyes, but it's kind of taken any detail that would have been in their eyes, and it's just this softly glowing white. And they are kind of like a drunkard by the side of the road, kind of like stumbling into it towards you.
Charles.
Yeah.
What's the matter with that Ibamari?
Peers over. Do I have any idea, or is this unknown to me?
It could be an Arcana or a Medicine check or something of the sort.
I imagine him, he's like, that's just Carl. He's always like that.
That's just a delinquent. Well, overloaded on some kind of magic, supposedly, or something?
Magical overload. Not entirely dissimilar to what we once encountered in a gnomish enclave, although I suppose you weren't with us then. Might be ingestion of too much aether dust. Might have been exposure to a outcropping that's emitted magic. Difficult to say. We'll probably recover with time away from the cause of it.
Would they be
Attempt to drain it. But
would they be able to communicate, or are they in some kind of delirium state?
It is probably not. It depends, but likely to be like communicating with someone who is high on some sort of drug, or
Should we not try and shepherd them back whence they came? Not on the side of the road.
if they came from Abernir, I would suggest we want to talk to them in some way. If there is a danger in those roads, that is the path we will be taking.
Well, go on then.
What's the range of your telepathy?
Disconnected from the... as if I was ever connected to the song. A mere 30 feet.
Alright, let me pull this beast over. Parallel park.
Will reach out with telepathy and expecting to get bombarded with useless thoughts. but-
Are you guys getting off the beetle? Or getting
No.
close enough, 30 feet close enough on top?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. The Evermari kind of bumps into a little ratty, tattered wall by the side of the road with their hips and kind of stumbles closer. You reach out and they let out a not with their mind, with their throat, a noise of anger and fear, and I'm gonna need you three to please make me intelligence saving throws, including the beetle.
Oh, poor beetle.
As the Ebamari reacts very suddenly, straightens up, head kind of locks back, their tentacles spray out, and there is this just like wave of light that like basically like a camera.
I may, perhaps, have rolled poorly.
That
Well, I rolled
is
okay.
gravely entertaining. Well,
What Zoe rolled?
That's the difference
rolled the
between
opposite of
a cleric and a fighter. So,
I have more intelligence. Hang on.
Hey, shall I lend you some?
I can't.
The Bebe. The
Why is
Bebe's
that
so
not working?
angry. It's just like.
There it is. So there is this flash of light. The first thing that happens is that the beetle kind of rears back. A great beetle like this is not meant to rear back. Bogdan, who was at the reins, is so shocked, so stunned, and both tumble. Do you guys need a sec? I can turn the cameras off. We can be inside. Oh. The
There we go.
Bogdan, you eat shit. You are gonna fall off the beetle, clonk your head on the ground. You actually would be
Fucking dead, mate.
at the front. So you would have kind of tumbled off this way. you are going to be not only stunned, but also prone because you hit the ground. You two are totally fine, but I would like for you to roll for me initiative checks. I mean, everyone is involved does, aside from the beetle, who's
I do want to point out, canonically, I Wilhelm screamed.
Yeah.
What's your best attempt at the Wilhelm scream?
Ah!
That's acceptable.
Well, for once, I got my rolls the right way round. I got the awful initiative and the good save. I'll take it.
Just rolling out 20s.
5 gig. 5 gig.
20.
5 gig.
Is Zoe getting good luck? That's a curious situation. So, with the beetle rearing, Ocean, you can snap into action. What would you like to do?
I want to do a sick flip off the palanquin.
Oh, that's right. You're no longer pregnant, so now it's time for the 6 flips.
Yeah. Just bear in mind that there is always like a semi-sleepy baby somewhere on Ocean's person.
Yep. The new costume just dotted with places to pocket a baby.
Yeah, I mean, you got a 20, so I will allow you to disembark basically for free. It would usually be an action. We can just drop you off the side here.
Nice. It's just like a scene of them. The next scene is like a ragdoll flying through the air, and then the next
Yeah, like
scene is Ocean, like
a very obvious prop than the actor again. Yeah. With Ocean's hair so big, there would definitely be moments where you can tell it is like a stunt person in a wig. And then it switches back to the real Ocean.
Or like late 90s CG.
Yeah. So that was nothing. What are you gonna do with your turn? That was a free action, is the technical term, DMs. Not that was nothing. You got a movement, and you got an action, and you got a bonus action.
well, are we going to attempt to speak to this person? Or are we just going to straight up attack them?
I will let you know the speech you hear from the Ebamari right now is...
Subdue first. Ask questions later. Ashal's telepathy, Ashal's not actual physical voice is bleeding into the telepathy because they're alarmed.
Gotcha. Like, you told me to prepare travel spells, and I did.
Those are travel spells.
Fighting is a part of travel in D&D.
There's only one travel spell you need, and that's Fireball.
Okie dokie. I'm going to move a little bit closer, and I'm going to summon my...
Oh, your
Weapon,
thingy.
actually. There we go.
Where do you want it?
Yeah. So
Remember, spiritual weapon is separate from your actual weapons.
yes, and it is a range of 10 feet, so I have to get just a little bit closer.
No, the weapon's fine. You've got a 60 feet cast range.
Oh,
All the way
perfect.
back.
So like you cast it fine. The attack misses. The like as it spins into existence, faster than you've seen most Aomari act. He kind of like crouches and.
He like sucks his head.
Well,
into
yeah.
his shoulder.
There's a very swift movement combined with the levitation. So it like crouches and swooshes like a couple of feet to the side, very aptly. But that's just your bonus action. The only thing you get to do is your action.
I'm going to. I guess maybe try Spirit Guardians.
That Spirit Guardians is an effect around you.
Yeah, Spirit Guardians is a overtime AoE spell. Can we show the spell card for reading?
Also, you already cast a bonus action spell.
No, that's fine. We don't differentiate on that here.
I need to change my spell list.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like if you can metagame your action economy, go ahead. You know.
Word.
Yay!
It felt like a weird line to draw in the sand. Okay, so the way Spirit Guardians work is you'll make a 15-foot aura around you where the spirits apparate when a person enters their turn or starts their turn there. They will potentially be damaged by it. Is that still the spell you want to cast?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I can make the aura. While I'm doing that, can you please describe what this looks like?
Oh shit!
Very important part.
I guess because of Ivrith, it's going to be a lot of little spiders, but I want them to be like lots of different kinds of spiders, just not the gross spindly ones. Nobody likes a spindly one.
Yeah, even Ivrith doesn't
like
want the spindly
various
ones.
Tarantulas and also jumping spiders because I love jumping spiders.
So is this like a?
Spiders are like just doing the threatening dance.
Is this like some daddy longlegs bigotry going on here?
Yes.
Okay.
My cat
Daddy
ate one of
longlegs are
those
not
today.
Spiders.
No, they are in America. It's a different thing. By the way, you need to move. You still have movement points, but if you do it right now, he is not in range.
Okay, thank
so
you.
you can move to get him securely in there.
Yay!
Okay, so at the start of his turn, he must make a Wisdom save against your spell save DC. What is your spell save DC?
It is 12.
It's Wisdom.
Wisdom.
He is going to pass, but he still takes half damage.
No, that's just your wisdom stat.
Now I'm really curious what you guys think of daddy longlegs is.
A daddy longlegs is what you call a crane fly, I believe. Big dangly ass thing with wings.
Oh,
So
no, ours are
a
spiders.
daddy
Yeah.
with long legs, yes. Understandable, but weird that two different things. It's weird that the name Daddy Longlegs was so important that it's
That we
two
carried it
different.
with us
And I feel like in
to the new
Australia,
land.
it's also another thing, like a different thing there too. Okay, so it's gonna
That's just
take.
what they call a spider that takes care of a human baby, because it's Australia.
He's gonna take half damage. He is going to. He's gonna just swoop towards you, and kind of he's going at you with both claws and tentacles, and he's gonna crit. So bye bye Ocean is the next line. Gonna suck on your brain a little.
No, my brain. Need that.
Oh no, my brains.
She just gave birth. She's getting her brain back.
So you're going to take 23, let's say bludgeoning damage. It's usually psychic damage, but this makes more sense to be bludgeoning. As it's literally like, this is not the like swipes of a warrior. This is like a rabid beast. They've just come up close and are just almost trying to consume you. But also at the same time, they aren't trying to latch onto your head like you'd imagine an Ebamari would. That's not a part of this at all. They're just kind of attacking.
Damn.
Bogdan, you are stunned. Please give me an intelligence saving throw.
Okay. Does a 15 do you?
You pass at the end of your turn. So
Yeah.
Us.
Bogdan just kind of like lifts his head and like,
and you see that going on.
careful, eat brains.
Charles.
This thing probably is. It's an Ebamari. It probably has high intelligence, which renders half of my spells redundant. Okie dokie. Well, let's try something different then. As Charles floats down off the beetle, raises themselves to their full height, and the shadows around them swirl and deepen, and you start to smell that sort of antiseptic smell that you might have smelled before. And then you hear the sort of the same scream, the same noise as you heard from the manifestation zone under the Fanged Asylum as Shao casts Toll the Dead.
Hey! Toll the Dead gang, rise up.
I got a frigging 17 damage on the set.
I know, and he's taken damage, so it would have been the second one, but he rolls a 21 on the save, so this guy's saves have been through the roof.
Are we gonna almost die through the end of chapter 1 and then die at the beginning of chapter 2?
It's quite possible.
I hate when series do that.
Honestly, if a high Ebamari kills all three of us, we deserve it.
Ocean.
Incidentally, Ocean needed a concentration check for Spirit Guardians.
It's a concentration spell. You need to make a concentration check for the damage you took. It would have been a DC of still 10 because you took.
It was 23 damage.
23, so it'd be 11.
Yeah.
I was just doing a quick math. Does not pay off, kids.
You're good.
Yeah, you're good.
Exactly the right number.
Just. So now it's your turn. Spirit Guardian is still up. Spiritual Weapon is up.
I'm going to do a little heal. Gonna heal myself. Level 1 or level... I'm gonna do level 2. Or can I not do level 2?
You can do level 2.
Okay, cool.
You could do you could do level 3 if you have any spell slots left.
I don't remember the rules.
Your character sheet will tell you your slot availability, much like my planner does.
Yay.
10 here.
Nice. So I get rid of 2 of these?
So you've used 1 second level spell slot. And in fact, you've used 2 with a spiritual weapon.
Okay.
And you've used 1 third level for Spirit Guardian.
Perfect.
And you get 10 health back. And you can move and attack the spirit with the spiritual weapon.
Yeah, your spiritual weapon is a bonus action thing. It will have advantage if you want here because you are giving it advantage. And remember when you are taking damage or healing, Zoe, to apply it to your character. Because I can do it to your token.
It's on the character sheet. It's the weird thing where character sheet and token are not.
They're not gelled up. It will probably fix when I put the new token in. Usually it automatically changes. That'll be a hit on a spiritual weapon.
Yay. Thank you.
I don't know why that's...
Yep.
Yeah, that's weird. I've never seen a desync like that on Roll20.
Oh, I've seen it a bunch of times, but usually it's user error. This time I'm sure it's not. Wow, you rolled terribly. The Ebamari has some scratches from the scythe. Some.
Just sheared off a little bit of tentacle. I've got a little bit of sashimi.
I don't think you want to eat Ebamari.
Well,
I was thinking
Ebamari
about
eat
cannibalism.
people.
If I eat its brain.
Oh, that's cannibalism, yeah.
That's how you get mad Ebamari disease.
That's diabolary. Ocean is still the closest target, so Ocean is going to be the target. This dice that's just done completely well the whole time is going to be banished. But I don't know if I have another D20 in my dice. I think I only have 1 D20 in my dice box. Nope. Here's a blue one. Okay.
I move away. Would he have got an opportunity attack? Damn it.
Yes. You have to use the disengage action to avoid that. But then you're not using anything else with your action. Luckily, on this turn, he is going to... Wait, what's your armor class?
It is 14.
He just misses a 14. So his wild and crazy, unorganized attacks are going to miss.
I want to play keep away with him with the spider legs. Just holding him afar.
He is going to pass the Spirit Guardian's DC this time, but please roll damage, because it'll take half.
I didn't do
It's a constant.
Oh, cool.
Okay. And I meant to at the start of the turn, but the end of the turn is just the start of the turn, but later. It's like, who cares? Bogdan, you are on the ground. And that's really it. That's all I got for you. You're now conscious.
Okay, I want to stand up
Mm-hmm.
and then use the last of my movement to move here. So, schloopty. And then, okay, 30 feet. I think it actually has much longer range than that, but 30 feet is probably good. 60 feet, cool. He's going to hold his hand up like that and go, Kandalabi, and cast Frostbite.
Nice.
Constitution save. Wise choice. They are going to fail. Everyone else coming with int and whiz.
You say that as if I have options.
Tell me you made a brain-eating wizard that only uses int saves? Who would do such a thing? Yeah, the Elmari just kind of flailing, just sort of starts to slow down as the layer of ice starts to kind of form, not too thickly, because it's a fairly small amount of damage comparatively, but like noticeably, like they've been hit by like a real sudden wind chill.
Yeah, that's me.
Ashal.
Should I? I'm
Yes.
just gonna sling some mental acid at this guy.
He's already high as well enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Mental acid? We just call that acid.
Dexterity? What's your spell save DC?
15.
16.
No.
As I've said before in this campaign, it's not fuck Ian's AC, it's fuck Ian's DC.
AC, DC. Let's call the whole thing off.
Yeah.
Ocean.
Yep. Do I heal or do I disengage? I don't like being near him. But I can't get too far away. I'm gonna go a bit closer to Ashal and hope that he tries to attack Ashal.
Oh, thanks.
I am squishy.
I'm squishier.
Yeah, but
I'm coming. Just calm down.
okay. Disengage action. A little bit. Does that still?
He's still
Does that
in the
take-
Spirit Guardians. Yeah, I'll allow it for
Okay.
that one. I usually go if it's like more or less half, it counts, you know? So that's still Spirit Guardians. Although if he goes closer to anyone, he's going to get more Spirit Guardians.
Yeah. And then roll Spirit Guardians.
No, you roll Spiritual Weapon if you want to use that.
Okay.
They're very similarly named, though. That's a hit.
Yay!
Consistent.
Conservative damage choice to make the action last longer. Very wise.
Oh yeah.
That's what we're doing.
They are going to fail their Wisdom save this time, which means they're going to take the full Spirit Guardians damage.
Yay! Eh,
Okay.
Get diggity dunked.
it's something.
Via that, what they're going to do is back up away, almost reaching for the spirit weapon for a moment.
Oh no. Oh no, what's coming?
And then they're just going to kind of they kind of flail their arms around a bit like that, and then there's just other flash of light. I need you all to give me an intelligence save. Yeah. It's the role of the fighter / tank to fail intelligence saves against mind flayers. It's a very important part of D&D.
Oh yeah? Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Tell me more about this failed intelligence save that my party definitely got.
Man, I totally forgot to have you take damage the first time. Well, I guess that's just a freebie. But no. So, Ashal, Oshun, you two are both stunned and you are going to take some damage. Going to be... Oh, it's going to be a nice clean 24 radiant damage.
Fuck me. I can't. This is embarrassing. Why did we stop for this asshole?
It's one.
Out of curiosity, does the mop that's strapped to my chest react to this in any way?
No, but you know what does? Your Cloak of Shadows, making you vulnerable to radiant damage and doubling that 24 to 48.
I forgot that entirely. Rip. Bye.
We're both down. What about, does the baby give me any?
Ouch.
The baby does not give you any resistance unless you wish to aim the baby at the beam of light to give you some protection.
Get him, Antichrist.
Speaking of Bogdan, it's your turn.
All right, diagonal is this double move, right?
Yeah.
That is rough. Come to lobby again.
Mm-hmm.
Hit him with that. I got a good damage roll.
And he fails, so he's going to take that 9 damage. And at this point, the Ebamari's like cloak is starting to crack and chip. All of the residual moisture on them is just frozen and cracked and kind of crumpled in on themselves slightly. Ashal no shun, no death saves. What I will have you make
They're both down? Oh shit.
is a wisdom. Both give me a wisdom save.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. In many ways, I don't like that.
Okay.
I mean, isn't it just a death save for you? The DC is 10.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Bogdan, what's your armor class right now?
It has disadvantage if it's attacking me with
You're
weapons.
right. It didn't help it. What's your armor class right now?
My armor class, I believe, is 17.
It's gonna miss. So it's gonna come up, you know, with just this feral ferocity, but slowed down because the cold is making just like the muscles stop functioning properly. Which means for someone who can actually like react, effortless to dodge and parry. It's now your turn.
Listen here, you little shit. All right, I'm gonna poleaxe this person twice because we are 5th level.
Yeah.
I think this is the first time I've actually been able to attack twice this
Yeah.
campaign.
Well, you know, you haven't really had many fights. You've had a fight where you weren't making attacks.
No,
the red.
yeah, I threw a hand axe and I freaking whiffed it. Yeah. All right, poleaxe.
That's a hit. Just.
I'll take just. 5 gang.
No. No. C5. 5 gang. Yeah, that's great damage. Do it again.
I'll fucking do it again. All right.
That is also just a hit. Alright, that is going to be the hit that takes them down. How do you want to do that?
Oh,
Bear in mind that you know Ocean usually prefers people taken alive.
Yeah, she was unconscious, and this thing just like almost killed us. I don't think Bogdan is like thinking about protecting this thing. Instead, he's gone full fighter and is just thinking, "How do I kill an Ebamari?" So he's like gonna cut the brain in half with this swipe. Just end this thing.
You don't get better from that.
Yeah.
They're just gonna
keep going towards him until it just dies.
It's an instant. It's an Obi-Wan Kenobi getting hit with the side of the lightsaber. It's just crumple. It's like a couple of moments after that you two are going to wake up. There's a very bright light in your eyes. But it fades. It's uncomfortable. but it fades.
That sucked.
Are we back on 1 HP then?
Yes.
I'm gonna start healing.
I'm gonna start healing.
Well, that was unpleasant.
Ashal will float over to the body.
Mm. Their head has been bisected.
I wonder if this is safe to eat its brain.
I would advise against that.
The top half of the brain that was removed is wiggling. You actually see something that you rarely see happen in Ebamari, but something maybe Ashal is vaguely familiar of. It can happen. Ebamari brains are 3-lobed. There's 2 halves, and then there's another one. The top one has basically and has a little tail and is kind of wiggling, but in the way that the dying fish would. It's not really gonna do anything.
Oh, I
Well, unless
I'm gonna-
stopped at Boggs is gonna doesn't
No,
like
no,
it.
but Ashal will like put a sort
Yeah.
of now.
Bam!
You better be right about this.
If this is something that is happening on the path to Abanir, we need to know about it.
And Ashal will pull out like an empty jar
Yes.
and will, without touching it, like try to get the brain into the jar.
Like trying to
Chase it
scoop up a mouse that your cat's caught. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you gonna give it some brine or something to keep it alive?
Yeah, I've got some brain rations, so I'll pour some of the brine from those into the jar.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Which one is better, Cure Wounds or Healing Word?
Healing Word is less healing at range and on a bonus action. So useful for combat,
Okay.
not as useful for out of combat.
And can I do one for Ashal and one for me?
If you've got the slots.
You're
Yeah.
more than welcome.
Yay.
That is noted in my inventory as Radiant Ebimari Brain.
I think
do
that's
have
a good descriptor.
You should call
Nice
it
roll.
Irradiated Evamari Brain.
Do you have? You only have a +1 wisdom.
Yeah, it's a dex build.
This is-
I'll take
Oh no!
Thank you.
I'm gonna have to kill everything by myself.
There's a reason why we didn't want you to leave this campaign. You have a pair of not really very combat characters.
Very squishy.
We'd
No,
even
I-
discussed it at one point where it's like, they're gonna have to hire some mercenary NPCs. Like they can't do anything without him, which is its own challenge.
I do have a question though. The Okshua's Ebamari associate that's incognito. Did we pick that up right now, or are we picking it up at Kavanari?
Kavanari.
That's okay.
It didn't say,
but then
it didn't
part of
say
my brain
on
was
the
like, wait
road
a
to
minute.
Kavanari. I will send you an ally. He'll come from the north. Nah.
Who will have a messed up brain, and then you have to kill. Yeah.
I will also root around in any clothing that I assume this Ebimari had on.
Yes, the Ebamari is wearing clothes. They're wearing very simple robes. Basically, every Ebamari wears robes. It's just a very comfortable clothes for the species.
I really like the what's that? A shapeless
A muumuu.
like dress. A muumuu. They all just like muumuus.
Yeah, there's like no shaping to the body unless they want that. But the clothes are of an okay quality, but they're not like fine clothes. They're just like fairly well and recently made, like kind of farmer's gear. Noticeably, the clothes look bleached by exposure to a lot of aether light or something. Something that's been on the washer line for like way too long. There is basically no possessions on them, which isn't weird. Ebamari are very unmaterialistic. But there's just like nothing. There's just like the rope that is used as like a belt, and there's no rations or food or anything.
As they're going through the clothing, Bogdan wants to get down on one knee and like open this thing's eyelids, but like away, like wafting, but like an eye, and he just wants to look at if these are normal Ebamari eyes, because you said they were glowing.
Yeah, now they are just normal but dead Ebamari eyes. Yeah, there's no light left in them. In fact, you probably see like a broken. You know how broken light bulbs, the glow takes a lot longer to go down.
Mm-hmm.
There's kind of some of that where the light is like still receding, but now it's like a reddish light in the middle of the eye.
Okay. Well, once Bogdan assumed that they're normal, he just like closed the eyelids.
Smart check.
The robe is bleached, as if by overexposure to aether
Tie-dye.
light.
Oh, aetherlight, yes.
Combined with what we have just seen, I would hypothesize overexposure to aetherlight or something to that effect.
And what might you use to explain that?
I would need more time to study it. At a very uneducated guess, overexposure causing mutations or hyperfunction in a part of the brain. Our Ebimari brains are not typical. It would not surprise me if things like that can occur under duress.
Damn, remind me not to get you stressed. As a dark elf, like, from Narashiro, would I know, much about aether crystals and light and stuff? Because there's that thing that's above, the city, but otherwise... I mean, she's been in caverns.
Yeah, and so this could be either an Arcana check, a History check, or a Religion check.
Which one am I good at?
Yeah,
None of them.
which one?
Can
I don't think you're good at any of them.
Can I follow that line of thinking on my own and make a history check?
Yeah, I was gonna say you can't probably get away with as many, but a History would be good.
Religion's going to be your best bet there.
Yeah, you're right.
So, what you would know, Ocean, is especially when it comes to like sort of the religious caves you've been in, aether crystal is common. If you look up, you see aether. The light that feeds into the caverns in the underrealm is aether light. You look up, you see twinkling lights beyond the clouds. It's aether crystals that litter the ceiling of the cavern, but they're not just in the ceilings. They're in the sidewalls. They're everywhere. When it comes to Bogdan, you'd know that it's a kind of trapped magic in theory that can be utilized. It's not usually something the deep dwarves worry about. Occasionally they'll allow like gnomes to mine aether crystals, but they're volatile, so it's usually a thing that dwarves are just like, I'm not really gonna worry about that. And
right.
dwarves are happy making their own light. Usurper elves usually want to use the aether as much as possible. Now, Ocean, the aether storm above Narashiro is a new phenomenon. But it's kind of a show of this is what's inside those crystals, you know.
We kind of did like look at it and go, oh dear, and then fucked up.
It's a big problem for another time.
It's not our job.
The significance of aether when it comes to usurper elves is especially when you were younger, but not so much in recent years, most households would have a little bit of aether as kind of they liked. As someone would keep like a house plant to keep the energy in the room positive, kind of. so it's a very spiritual thing for the usurper elves to have it around. You don't know if it's the case for Ebmari. I think that would go the same for you too, Bogdan. Trying to think of anything else you know. Do you have any questions?
I do have a question. You said it was bleached by the power of aether crystals. Is that the crystals on the ceiling that provide general lighting? Is that
too dim
enough to bleach clothes, or would it have to be close to the source?
It would have to be up. It would have to be on like the line for a long time, or really close. And honestly, if it was closer, it would probably have more color to it. Aether light is not white. It only comes down as sort of white because there's so much of it. But when you're closer to aether crystals, it's a kind of... It differentiates between like a pink, a gold, and kind of sometimes a bluish color, you know?
Okay.
So if it was a really close exposure, it would be a different color. Something that, you know, clothiers would occasionally use, you know, if you have an appropriate prism.
Another question I have, are these clothes made for an Ebamari? Or are they perhaps dwarven?
They look of deep dwarf tailoring, but to his physique.
Okay.
Ebamari don't live as long as deep dwarves, so they were clearly made for them, this individual, but probably by a deep dwarf. Which is also not as surprising. You do ship clothes out all over the Underrealm. But...
Okay. One last question. Has Bogdan ever heard or seen Ebamari working the Abunir farms? Or is that totally out of the question?
That's totally out of the question. The deep dwarves are very proud of farming. Every farmer gets a stipend, and it's seen as a very, very honorable profession, supporting the entire everyone. So it's like one of the things that they will not give up. They will not give it up to automation. They will not give it up to other species, other than the exception of maybe a community has raised a goblin from birth, and the goblin is allowed to, it's a nice little story, you know, like stuff like that. Maybe, but that's just incompatible with how Ebamari exist. You can't raise an Ebamari from birth because they're made via a parasitic bonding, so... Alright.
Bogdan would vocalize that. Be like, there's no Ebamari should work on Abunir farm. And he's more saying that for himself because he assumes that Charlotte would probably know that too.
I suspect that this one was either a researcher into something that went wrong, or more likely a research subject released when they serve no further purpose. Although to keep an Ebimari as a research subject would not be easy. It would require a lot of power.
I kind of do like a low whistle to call my familiar down from the Palanquin. And then I'll telepathically ask it to fly up a wide search pattern looking for any kind of structures.
Cool. It would come back and very quickly, and it would say that, you know, roughly to the north of you, there is a element of the dwarven border. Here is a small gatehouse that's basically, you know, made in a patch of the cavern walls. From a glance, it had 2 guards. And you would know, because, you know, your familiar knows everything you know, and you know everything it knows, that it was Duros. Have I told you much about the Duros yet?
No.
So, in the Dwarven, in Deep Dwarf Society, around, I guess, 7 years ago, a scientist invented a automata called the Duros. They are larger than dwarves, have the sort of physique of dwarves. They basically look like an empty suit of dwarven armor. Now, as a dwarven warrior of the warrior caste, a lot of the warrior caste is unhappy because they immediately became warriors. They take a lot of roles that the warrior caste would take. They are guarding a border, a job that the warrior caste would take. But they are guarding a border without food or rest, right? I think you would probably just assume that they are dumb automata that can do the job of a warrior without the finesse and thought of it, right? That's the thought that a lot of dwarves have.
Or the honor.
Or the honor, right? And you'd probably immediately scoff at the fact that there is a border, although a small one, because this isn't the main border for this direction, being just completely automated. Like, that's just shocking.
So it wouldn't be much of a point to go chat with the Duras.
They can talk, but you probably wouldn't have high hopes. But you could go talk to them if you want. Yeah.
But they probably respond better to a recognized military official asking them.
Yeah, they would respond better to whoever they work for.
Right. If I start asking about recent border crossings, they might tell me to step off.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They're kind of erratic.
Are we just watching Bogdan have this conversation with this bat, like...
And he's like holding his arm up and the bat's just hanging down. Like...
That's great.
Well, this is perplexing and dangerous. But for the time being, I think we should continue to Kavanari. There might be more information if this is a widespread phenomenon.
And if we see another one of these people...
We'll give it a wide berth.
Yep.
It will also give me time to investigate this fragment.
Is it in the realm of possibility that it is some sort of Ebamari infection that we should be concerned transferring from the brain to you? It did seem to have a lot of unusual power that I don't think...
Oshun,
Yep.
Did you experience the light as well after we fell?
Oh, the flash? Yes.
If Oshun experienced it as well, it suggests to me that if it is an infection, it is not specific to Ebimari.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, that's horrifying.
Underground Jesus.
You're underground Jesus.
I was about to say, aren't you caring for underground Jesus?
That's true.
You're underground Mary.
Exactly.
Yeah, that sounds right. Okay.
I would
That
not...
makes the Lamia underground Joseph.
He
Yep.
does.
Okay. With that thought mildly worrying out of mind, you can head towards Kavanari, which is incredibly close. Kavanari is a very different site this time of year. To describe it, it is a very visibly dwarven settlement because it's just close to the dwarven lands. It's built into a natural kind of crevasse in the cavern walls with a large wall around it that doesn't reach all the way to the top, so you can see the majesty of the city and has this large field before it within that walls. But something that's unique to the warm season is that there are open lava vents that flow into some of the buildings from the walls. Not a huge amount of them, just the ones where geothermal activity can be properly used, but it's very interesting. The city has the appearance of a Greek or Roman political city. It's got those kind of clearly political buildings in the back and then the housings for it. And that's exactly what this city is made for. It's very new. The buildings don't have any wear or even the age of plants growing on them or anything. And it's very clean. And while it's meant to be kind of represent the treaty as a whole, being made in the years that the treaty, needed to operate, it does kind of lean more towards Dwarven and Ebamari designs and mentalities. You are allowed past the border. Of note, when you enter, that field is full of merchants. merchants who are not necessarily from races that are part of the Treaty of the Deep is always the curious aspect. They're not really... They probably wouldn't be not allowed in the city further, but they don't have, like, shops or stalls. And so there's a lot of, like, scavengers and minor craftspeople who try and sell their wares here in this big, bustling market where you see all kinds of faces and all kinds of shapes. You will probably be spending most of your time in your brief visit in the political circles, but I think what we should do first before you get there is take a little break. So, we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Stay right tuned. It'll be an exciting bout.
On the continuation of our series.
Hello. We are back. With words of yogurt, we are back to the action. So, party, you have made it to Kavanari. The journey took, another month, or maybe a little bit longer. Enough time for Ashal you have learned Dwarven with Bogdan's help with the downtime before and after.
When you came back, you have a language.
Yep.
Bogdan is actually low-key the best teacher of all time.
Well, Ashal's also wicked smart. Pick up languages quickly. So just so you know, ta-da! Dwarven you've picked up. You might, there might be still some uncomfortable translations and difficulty for the first bit, but you'll get used to it. Very useful too when being in Kavanari, while everyone will speak Undercommon. To speak some of the other languages will always help things going. What do you guys want to do? Do you want to head further into the city? Do you want to spend time in the market? What's the plan here?
We need to make contact with our contacts.
We need another meat shield between me and the enemy.
Oh yes, you're gonna get a meat shield, alright.
Oh God, Ollie!
I would like to go purchase a bunch of meat and some thread.
Yeah.
Lady Gaga.
It's always an option. I won't say it will
You
work.
imagine Ashal so fashionable and avant-garde that he's just wearing meat and he's just like sunglasses.
Who knows what will happen at level 20? How are you gonna find your contact?
Smell him out.
Well, we have two contacts. We have the Ebamari,
Mm-hmm.
and then we also have
Bottle.
Bartop Binderbreak.
Yeah.
He's a cryptographer, and I assume, unlike the Ebamari, he's not as low key.
Do we know that he's in Kavanari? I didn't know that. Down.
Yes.
You said he might be here. He might be in Abanir. He has
Got
a
ya.
mosaic in the main hall, or in the main building. It's not in the main hall. It's like upstairs, that you can go and observe. Another thing, just so you know, Ashan Oshun. Not that you have any need. You do have your contact Jericho here. You'd have no need to meet with them, but he is, as always, a low tier option. If this was a gacha game, he'd be 1 star, but gosh, would he have a fan following. So, yeah, what's the first plan? Stable up the beetle and head to the main building?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm hoping that the Ebamari will find us.
Is everyone going to
So-
go with you on yours, or maybe Ashal look for the Ebamari while you stay? What's the plan?
I think could like Ashal basically just look like extend telepathy vaguely outwards, so almost like a psionic ping, and just walk around the city,
Yeah.
or float around the city.
What's that meme? Darren! Darren!
Does he have a psychic VPN? Because if you're just broadcasting on public psi waves.
Mm-hmm.
Connecting from the wall of Abaddon.
That brings us to
Next thing we
today's
know-
sponsor.
I watched a whole bunch of videos where the VPN's name has changed like 3 times because it's
those are
definitely a
different-
legitimate business.
Those are different companies, Ollie.
The Ashal's brain's going to be mining cryptocurrency by the end of the session. Okay. You can start doing that, Ashal. Bogdan's going to go off to the main hall. What, Ocean, whomst are you going with? Or are you just going to stay with the beetle? And the baby?
My notes auto-corrected what I assumed was
Jericho.
the name to Jerkily. So now that's what they're called. Ocean's gonna go around going, Jerkily! Jerkily, are you here?
Okay. So, let's start with the content, which is Bogdan. Heading into the main, basically Capitol Hill of of Kavanari is don't know how much respect Bogdan will have for all the politicking that goes on here. But there is also war planning as well. When you tell there's a mosaic, someone will point you to a chamber that is... It is kind of an open space, but unlike the ones on like the lower floors where people will have conversations, no one's like hanging out in this space. It is not even lit when you go in. So you're like, well, okay, go get like a torch, light the torch on a wall sconce, walk in. And true to the description, on the floor is a grand mosaic of a map of the world. But not the underrealm, the surface world. Even at a glance, you can see interesting parallels. Cities are marked, their names carved in Undercommon. It's interesting. I don't know how interesting to Bogdan, but it's definitely a lot of work has gone into it. When you spend a long time kind of examining this, you will see a little glow of light in the dark. Because, of course, being a dwarf, you can see very well in this dark. The little glow of light is from a pipe that another deep dwarf is smoking. They are good tea, younger than you, but still adult. Botov has black hair, a beard that's short for a dwarf, but still, you know, pretty long. It's kind of capped in 3 little beaded areas. When you get closer to him, you can smell the beard and hair oil that he has in. He has a full, solid head of hair, too. He's a little, slight for a dwarf. And he has, like, a bag of things, but it's just, like, at his feet. He's sitting on the windowsill. It's so gloomy in here, you can't really tell that one of the walls here is, like, a window that overlooks the city. But when you get closer, you're like, oh, yeah, that's the rest of the town outside. And he's just sort of sitting there, having a little smoke.
Botov binder break, I take.
Very same. No, I don't know exactly who you are, but I recognize your posture and your, maybe the expression on your face. Tell me who you are. I won't guess it.
I'm Prince Bogdan Alabast V.
An Alabast. That makes sense. Ah, I assume you want to take back the throne.
Yeah, actually.
Oh, well, that was just going to be a joke. He'll like take a long drag on his pipe, which is definitely, you know, it's herbal. And will then kind of like tap out the cinders and like pat the space next to him. Like, oh, then I suppose we should talk.
That's what I've been told.
I can give you a little help, a little bit of my knowledge. I'm no friend to Cold Guard. So, I wouldn't mind seeing a little mix-up.
Why don't you travel with me? I'm heading north.
There's not much for me north.
What's for you here? Your work. Yeah, I'll like wave the torch. Seems finished.
Yeah, but the thing with fine art, especially when there is meaning to it, is that you have to explain it to everyone who looks at it. And every single one of these politicos who try to plan around some war with the surface, they look at the map and they'll go, oh, we should do this. And I will explain to them why they are wrong and why they shouldn't. And they won't listen, but it's a role.
I have spent half a century preparing for when I head north. But during that time, I have become an appreciator of the arts. It sounds to me that that is not something an artist should have to do day with today. And I also noticed that you have a fascination with maps. You're a cartographer, of course.
A cartographer, intelligence broker, spy master. I am many things depending on the need.
So you are interested not only with the lay of the land, but the lay of the land.
Who lays the land? Who fucks it?
No, I got that. Come with me.
You'll get up.
I have need of your service.
You
In
do?
more ways than one. Except for the... Not the... Just see Zoe going crazy.
Yeah. Anything that could slightly result in a ship, Zoe is just awake. Engaged.
Oshun is the goddess of fertility! I'm into it!
Male fertility will have to do some real crazy stuff in this relationship, but hey, it can happen.
No relationship. So, I'll take you to my. Goddamn, Zoe.
Sorry, it's just that you're playing Bogdan is like either very compelling or so socially awkward that I'm invested in this dialogue now.
I imagine Bogdan knows how to talk to warriors but spies and other people. He's just like, so you spy? You do the spy thing? Yeah.
Very
I'm
dwarf.
a usurper. Usurper.
Not the usurper. They're the usurpers. I'm fixing things.
Of course.
On the way, you can tell me everything you know about the cult of the Undersun.
Ah. Okay. Sure.
You've met your match, Bogdan.
You're interested in learning all about the land we live in, which is more than I can say for the current man who sits on the Blackjaw, which is a good thing. It's the right thing to say to the smart people who have some sway in the world.
I shall not assume the Blackjaw by right alone.
Nope.
Fucking love dwarves.
I can make a plan. 4 or 5 step plan. Something of the sort.
I believe that calls for drinks.
Now you are speaking my language. And he'll kind of motion. There's an excellent tavern. It is called the Studious Cacophony. Great name. Shit drinks. But a lot of shit drinks become one good drink. So, he will just start heading off.
Yeah, I follow.
He's a bit of a fast walker.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. There'll be the moment where he realizes that Bogdan is not and slows down. Now, funnily enough, Ashal, your wandering has led you to the Studious Cacophony as well. Being a tavern in a political city, it is a place that has a lot of studies for hire, essentially. Especially for species that don't sleep conventionally, it's a little more practical. The tavern itself, when you wander in, is more like a hotel lobby. Although there's still, a roaring fire and drinks being served and stuff. And you would feel compelled to a room. Would you not, once you work out which room it is?
Yeah. Yeah.
The door unlocks with a noticeably telepathic click, and as the door opens, a rat scurries just past your cloak and into the room. There's a bit of a gleam to it, you only briefly catch in your eye. When you open the door, the study is very clean. There is a desk right below a window. There is a kind of short figure in a very heavy robe. And you just sort of see the rat, like, jump up onto the desk where there's some books and things, and then go up to the sleeve, and then kind of go into the sleeve, and then both the sleeves kind of join, like that's someone doing, that sort of thing. They will turn their head, and at first the under the hood is just dark due to the lighting and stuff, but then you see an Ebamari's face. Kind of grey in skin. While they're sitting now, they look pretty short for an Ebamari. I mean, Ebamari are stretch boys. But this guy's probably like 5 foot tall. Maybe less. The heavy robe makes it really hard to tell. Maybe they have a gnomish host or something. They will look at you, and then there is a slight motion of the tendrils, and then the telepathy reaches out and will say that the correct thoughts would be that you are the warriors that Uxua has sent to collect me.
More accurately, I am but one. My companions are pursuing other leads at the moment, but we will reconvene soon. That is true.
You are one. Yes, of course. I am Kacha'al. They will kind of levitate off the chair. Their robe is, nice-ish, but a little ratty and very heavy and very formless, which isn't unusual for Ebamari. And they will, float a little closer. They'll do like a bow.
Now this is where Ian tries to work out what on earth Ashal would do.
If there is an uncomfortable silence, there will be an uncomfortable silence. This individual doesn't care, and then they will go.
Ashal,
Can you pet the rat?
well, no, Ashal would like incline their head in response to the bow, and will say, one of my companions seeks but of binding break, and the other, I believe, seeks Juriko.
Uh-huh.
What of binding break is entering the tavern now with a... They are not friends. I have money for you. Perhaps not for you, but perhaps for the dwarf that you are assisting. It will take us some time to understand the economy of this group that you have together, but I do have items that can be traded for value in golden coins. They will take out a small, well, actually, a moderately sized lockbox, and with a little difficulty, like, it up. With the like, they're kind of like a kid in robes that are too big. Like, you don't see the hands, you just see like the robes like kind of pool around the edge of the box.
3 kids stacked on top of each other in a trench coat.
Maybe. And they will open it and reveal that it has a selection of gold bars in it. 6 gold bars.
6 gold bars.
Sounds
No,
like
I
gold press.
do not know if you want me to carry this.
Ashal will reach out and like take it, but will say,
Oh,
and because the idea was this person would accompany us, right? I'm
yes,
remembering
they
that.
are coming with you.
Yeah. Right. Thank you. Come, I shall introduce you to Bogdan as he appears to have arrived.
An
Ashal
excellent,
is now remembering like how much they dislike talking to other Ebimari.
an excellent course of action that I will follow with gladness. They will float slightly behind you, slightly too close for comfort.
Witness the gladness.
Yeah, of note, like, their face is not very animated. Not many Ebimari are. Like, again, very colourful Ebimari are like, oh, I'm so glad to see you. Like, most of the time, it's like, there's not much.
Just flicking you with their squid ink.
Yeah, the goo. Bogdan, well, Botov would sit at the bar. You know, you can see across the bar that Ashal leaves a room with a smaller Ashal in a bigger robe. Not exactly, but you know.
All right, well, Boggin, just mental note. Oh, they might be related.
Ashal will float across towards Bogdan unless signaled otherwise.
Yeah. He'll just give you a nod and be like, you know, I'll work this contact. You work that one for the time being.
Okay, we'll take a seat like a couple of stools down, just so that Catchow does not cause issues there. But we'll keep a keen ear, and we'll sort of mentally explain to Catchow that Bogdan is currently in conversation, and we will leave them be for the time being.
I see. They are indeed operating within conversations right now. Would you like to have a conversation with us while they are conversing on their own?
No.
Yes, I suppose that would be ideal. I saw when the door to your room opened, a rat. Are you a practitioner of the arcane? Is that a familiar?
May I pet the rat?
It would be accurate to describe me as a being that can utilize magic, yes. I assure you that my magical abilities are not very much designed for waging war. That is not what would befit of us. Our role in assisting Ebimaro and with Oxua is very much in what one would describe infiltration, investigation, study of people, things, places.
I do not believe that we expected a warrior. That is we need information and infiltration, as you say. Your skill set is suitable to what we
Particular
desired.
set of skills.
I am aware that I am also to act as a conduit for Ultua's constant communication with your individual party in the necessity of such a thing. I can send a very vague message to her and she can communicate through me as if I were her, and her song could speak through me manually.
He's a meat puppet.
Even more diluted sense of self than most of them. Excellent.
They will take out a very ratty looking spellbook. It looks like it was nice once, but like it's kind of been like dropped in the disposal or something and kind of been shredded up a bit. And you know, open it up again, like no hand, just kind of the sleeve will kind of like start scribbling in it in a little bit of deep speech, just very rough notes of what you discussed.
It's his diary.
Bogdan, Tabletop would order you both. It would be proper Abernere whiskey, of moderate quality.
Shit, how much gold do I have left? Okay, cool.
And he'll do, you know, there'll be like a toast, like a very sort of typical dwarven little toast, and then clink of the glasses. But he'll knock it back and say, well, now I think I am in a better arrangement to discuss whatever it is that we need to discuss properly. So, I will say it plain, I do not exactly relish in the idea of traveling with you, for the path you take might have some violence involved, but maybe I'll be able to join you on the way to the city. And maybe drop off at certain points. I can defend myself. I can fight. Maybe even be able to fight better than you. But I do not. I'm not a warrior. It's not my path in life.
There will be no shortage of warriors in the days to come. For now, I need thinking men.
Aye. Do you want the plan now, or do you want it later?
You already have a plan.
What responsible citizen does not have a plan to conquer their own homeland?
As Charles agrees.
Enlighten me, then.
Well, there's one element that you'll have to take care of, if not first, then at some point. I will say it plainly, Prince Bogdan Alabas V, your bloodline is known to be cursed. Now, I only know this because I am incredibly smart and I have read a lot of lore books and a lot of lore stones. Your average individual in the city or in the farmlands, they would not know this. Why would they?
Right.
But the second you take that throne, people are going to look into you, and they are going to find your curse.
Then it's a good thing the curse is lifted.
Well, it would be good to have that on record. Or better yet, it would be good if there was no record at all. Now, it might be literally illegal to discuss changing the record in the nation's lore books. But, if you want to stay on the throne, even having a history of a curse in your bloodline, you do everything. You get to the throne, you sit on the Blackjaw. Ooh, comfy. They find out you have a curse, the next person comes, sweeps you off the throne. It'll be uncontested, because you will be bad blood for it. There is no curse, and I'm sure there is no curse. I'm sure it is absolutely lifted. So I'm sure it's that simple. Then there won't be that problem. And you will look very legitimate. You'll want to keep your family line, of course, but the history of the curse, that needs to be obfuscated.
The list of people that would have to be silent.
Oh, no. You destroy the record. What people say will not matter.
I disagree. I think what people say has more influence than record books. After all, two dwarves are talking in a bar planning to overthrow a kingdom. Nothing's written down.
That's true. Though, believe me, at the very least, if the record of your curse still exists, you will not stand on that throne for long.
Understood.
You will have to take care of it before you take the Blackjaw. If you do it afterwards, it'll all come out. Then, it comes to the rest of it. You might be worried about the church. The church will not care. They will not give a shit. Those who follow the voice... If you follow the voice, they will not question you. They will maybe have become a difficulty in your way, but they will not fight you once you take the Black Jaw. So, that is a big worry off our hands. What you do need to worry about is the regular people. A leader leads with the keys to the kingdom, the people, the influence. If you are to become king, you will need the assistance of the farmers and the stillers. The farmers have huge sway in Abonir. On their way to the wall, you would do best to make friends with them. Help them in any troubles that there may be. When it comes to the stillers, I'm sure you'll be able to get their assistance in some way. They are always working on something, I believe. There's always difficulty in that. Now, the third aspect of this would be the mines, but there is no way you'll be able to wrest the control of the mines from Sky and Colgard. It will not happen. He rules that with superiority. You even go in for diplomatic talks, you will likely come out dead. So, that aspect will have to be nixed. You'll need another source of power. I think that maybe the Basteron family might be of some assistance. They're an independent state, but loyal. And then you'll have 3 powerful keys to the kingdom. With that, if you have the throne, you have the sway to stay on the throne. Yes? How you take the throne, the specifics do not matter. You could win it in a game of poker, you could bludgeon in the king's head with a mug. That will not matter. But you need the keys, the people. And you need to not seem like a cursed individual who will die when you get sneezed on. That's the plan.
Okay. That's, how should I put this? Parts of it were very beneficial, parts of it were pretty obvious. The specifics is what I'm more interested in. Specifically, how the Cult of the Undersun could potentially become an asset at this particular junction.
It's possible. They're loonies. They don't exactly interact with anyone else too much. But it's possible.
And they are heretical, which is a problem.
Yes.
The same contact that informed me to get in touch with you told me that I should get in touch with them, which I found to be suspicious. I was hoping you could shed more light.
Well, just like how the Basterons are an independent state, but the Basterons, their family earned that land. They fought in a war, and the land was bequeathed to them. The Cult of the Undersun, I would say took it, but it's more like the people who lived in the place. They found something, the Undersun, and their religion sprung out of the ground like sprung will water. So, in a sense, they are heretics illegally occupying the land, but from another sense, they are the people of the land, the people of the kingdom who are living upon it. I don't know how they will be able to assist you, but they are people. And people can surprise you. No matter where in the world they are, it is never a bad idea to get to know someone.
There's wisdom in that. So, let's talk about the farmers and the stillers. Who holds influence over these two groups?
Oh, see, it's all very decentralized. When it goes to the Steelers, I'll be able to get you a name when I get there. I haven't known the specifics for some time. But there will be essentially be a guild leader of the sort. When it goes to the farmers...
Where? The guilds in the city?
Oh, yes. The stills in the city, on the wall. The farms spread. But, I mean, I see the weapons you are wielding. You make kissy eyes with the brain man. I am sure that you can fight and handle beasties. Now, guess where the entire attention of the army and the church is focused? Focused on the surface. Or on our allies. The farms probably have no shortage of pests causing them trouble. You go in, you kill some pests, you get some allegiance. I think I know the best place to check. There are always, no matter where you are in the world, all the farms converge. You need a singular place where you can easily ship out the foodstuffs and ship in the fertilizers and the work and the people. We can investigate proper there.
What is the place called?
You will have to check his map.
I know what that means.
There's a spot in the Ozian Bounty. Exact name. You know, they don't usually name the little towns unless they make a lot of money. Maybe if you become king, you give it a name. I like you a lot.
Well, very well. I think we'll, Well, since you mentioned Ebamari.
You motion to Ashal, yeah.
Yeah.
Ashal will float over and bow slightly. And catch Al to
This is my little friend.
Yeah, catch Al follows with like a delay.
This is Bartov mining break.
Well met. I am Ashal. I am assisting Prince Bogdan in his efforts.
Very good. I'm going to need you to kill some monsters, I think.
What changes?
Bogdan just kind of like his eyes kind of glass over for a moment, like, oh no.
I suppose I am traveling with you for some time towards the wall. Luckily, I had nothing else planned, so I guess why not, right? Have a little jaunt. So I'm sure I'll be able to work out what you can do for a up-and-coming king here, eh?
Something for us to all brainstorm. Bartov here has brought the idea of destroying the records of my curse, which I believe is a plan. But I'm wondering if the fact that I have removed the curse, that the curse has been lifted, could not become a positive. Something we can use. It's something we have to prove. But if we can announce to the entire country that the 5th Bogdan has lifted the curse on the Alabaz name, it'll get people talking. It will get me in the minds of the common and the noble. And then when I come to take the throne, it will be providence instead of happenstance.
I think it is less proof that you need and more that you need to be able to convince others reliably that it is the case. To convince someone requires either tangible proof or the statement coming from a source of authority that cannot be questioned.
Or beauty.
Such as religion or a monarch. Although I think it would be unlikely that the current monarch would endorse such an idea.
Ogden will slap his hand on Ashral's shoulder and be like, Ashral is new to politics. He doesn't understand that actual proof and figurative proof are the exact same thing, but he still speaks speaks wisdom.
You need a story. You need a story that people will tell. This is a good story
Exactly.
to have. If you start telling the story before you become king, it will give you more credibility. Yes. But then how do we disperse the story, and how do we have the story? It's very hard to have a story about the curse being lifted unless the story was also about the curse. And we don't want it to be too much about the curse, because then even if it's lifted, they'll go, well, it's a whole it'll be like kibosh. So we'll that is a tricky situation.
I think the best way to handle it is to have other people talk about the curse and not our company. If we distance ourselves from this curse, then if this plan backfires, as it's high risk, high reward, then we can go with the destroy the records, claim it never happened, and,
It will be harder
Plausible
to
to-
destroy the records after you go around making the records more concrete. But still possible.
Well, I can start with a friend I made in Narashiro, although it'd be kind of backwards thinking to go contact him now. But if we can get the troubadours and the artisans to tell the story of the curse breaking,
I see.
make it folk legend.
That could work. Potentially.
It's a start.
This is
Everything's on the table for now. We're in the early planning stages.
You know what's not on the table? Not enough whiskey.
I agree. Bucky.
Alright. And this is a great time for us to take a little breaky brew. With some plan in, at least expectations set, right?
I wrote notes.
You've got very, very good. I did too. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. This won't be a long break at all. Be back soon. Alright, enough talk of taking the throne. Ocean, you travel to the main hall and look for Draco. You go to Draco's office. You know where it is, and Draco is there. Draco, of course, being one of the key diplomats, Jericho de Vescos. He somehow looks more tired and more overworked than last time. His hair has grown even more to the point that the old red dye is just kind of a pink fade at the very end of his hair now. And he doesn't look to be taking the heat of the warm season all that well. He's kind of like slumped back in his chair with like a thin silk shirt. And he'll kind of look at you when you enter, but then like before you are even like through the door, he realizes who it is because there's only like one person of these proportions. Like, oh, by Ivrith, you've had the baby.
Yes, it sounds like the beginning of a mystery novel. Like in the bad silk shirt with some whiskey.
Yeah,
and
like
the dame comes in.
Imagine that, but with like 50% more anxiety, and then you have Draco. Maybe one day we'll do a noir novel from Draco's perspective, but it's just like nothing, very low stakes.
Getting lunch.
Well, I'm surprised to see you. I did have to pass a message on for Ultra at some point. I hope that all went through okay.
Yes. Yes, she ended up coming to visit us. Which,
Terrifying.
Yes, in a way. At least she wasn't disappointed. I can imagine how that would be.
I have dealt with a disappointed mother in my time. The moment I was born.
Oh. Would you like to say hello?
That is a baby. Oh, my. It's insane to believe that was in there. I can't quite get my head around it. My sister's pregnant, and it's so wild to think about. I mean, first of all, it insinuates that she's been having sex, which I don't want to think about. And then you get to think that everyone at some point was a baby, aside from the Ebamari, who don't really count, which means that everyone at some point, there's...
My god, I could have killed him!
It's a lot.
Right. Well, yes. How about you tell me those thoughts on our way to have a chat with someone I'd like you to meet?
Walk and talk, I suppose. Okay.
And gonna go straight back to the place where the others are.
Sure.
But I also like the idea of like Ocean's not quite like above letting the baby like dictate where they go.
If the baby looks at something, you'll go over there.
It's like a something that could be interpreted as a point. She'd be like,
Baby is mostly disinterested in everything that happens around it.
Maybe.
The baby did stop to listen to the most highbrow, forefront, most expensive artists in the whole Underrealm spend time in Kavanari. There is a very experimental type of music being played at the square in front of the hall that the baby at least shows some enjoyment in. So you stop for a moment there. Yeah.
Is it doing kicky legs?
Yeah.
Next time you drop it off at daycare, it's gonna be like, you probably haven't heard of this band.
You will, however, meet the rest of the others at the Studious Cacophony, where they are all around the bar, pretty near the entrance. You can see the group. Both of them have picked up another individual. As Jericho walks in, one of the bartenders passes, who is a very attractive dwarven male, and Jericho kind of immediately tenses up and slightly zoops behind you. And then we'll sort of relax when they've passed. But in the, like very dramatic kind of relaxed.
I'm not going to inquire as to whether that was a conquest or a mistake.
Oh, they're never conquests, experiments? Diplomacy.
Yeah. It's all experimental. And then she'll like take a seat, very large, take a seat on the edge of this bench, and hopefully not just go.
When you do, Jericho just kind of stands like politely. The little Ebamari will turn and just like look up at Ocean, because there's a lot of up to look, and they are small.
Aww. Ocean will just look down with their whole spider head is exposed, so their fluffy little I can't remember what they're called.
Pedipalps.
Pedipalps are going to they're always sort of moving, like investigating or like drumming or like cleaning themselves, and they're just going to like and then she'll just sort of like, hello.
The individual will like, their book is back under their robes, their arms are just like this, and they will just scoot back like a foot, and they will extend telepathy and be like, greetings, I am Katja Al. I have been tasked by Ulxua to assist you and your party in your journey.
It's wonderful to meet you, darling. Cling, cling, cling.
There's just a stare.
He's used to it.
Yeah. There's like no expression in the stare, but there's a stare.
Good, we're all here. Who's this?
Would you like to introduce yourself, darling?
I am Draco Devescos. I am the diplomatic liaison for Narashiro and Kavanari. I take care that the city's best interests are always acted upon when it comes to grander matters of the treaty. I sit on in a lot of the meetings. I don't really know why I'm here either.
Well, do you drink?
Increasingly.
We need increasing amounts of drink.
Katja Al will just kind of move close enough to behind Ashal to like bump into them slightly. It was like, they are going to become inebriated.
This is a fairly common occurrence.
Ashal,
Yeah.
you have the bearing of a lightweight, which is something weird in a dwarven culture. Have a whiskey. He slides it down the bar. Your people can drink, right?
Ashal looks at you for a long moment, but will take it and drink.
Give me a Constitution save.
You die.
Well, we'll know what happens on a 1.
How the hell do you have a +5 con? Oh, you're a sorcerer.
Sorcerer.
Okay.
You feel the feeling of whiskey running through your body is not too dissimilar to the feeling of the storm. It probably wouldn't be all that unpleasant to Ashal. In that it is unpleasant in a way that they understand.
It's rationally unpleasant, rather like it sort of feels good, but in that way it's like ugh.
And you would be maybe a little tipsy.
Ashard is just looking at Bogdan like, yeah?
Bogdan's just grinning like, yeah.
In all my time, I have never actually seen anyone bet an Ebamari to drink an alcoholic beverage and it to work, so maybe you can be king. Gift of the glab.
Gift of the flab.
So, I already forgot your name. We've been drinking a bit.
Who are you talking to, Draco?
Yeah.
Yeah, he would be nursing a whiskey, and then would politely and quietly ask for a glass of wine to have instead.
Oshun will probably like motherly edge something away from him and just say, "Don't mix drinks, dear."
I think Bogdan will like physically wave away the offense of turning down the whiskey, and then he'll say, "So what's new in Kavanari?"
Well, there are rumors, but things are moving slowly. Narashiro has moved forward in the war, has let our presence be known, so to speak. There is no more of a war of subterfuge, yes, but a war where all parties involved now know they're involved to some degree. I believe many of the races of the surface are keeping this quite quiet, but war is happening, I suppose. It's a thing to celebrate, I suppose.
Oshun's going to quietly be ordering bread for everyone.
You say you sit in a lot of meetings. What can you tell me about Abunir? We're about to head north.
Abunir is an interesting case when it comes to Kavanari. This whole city was built so that you could have more sway over the Treaty of the Deep, because it was unfair that my kind had such a large hold over it all. But the thing is that unlike we who speak for Narashiro and Orkshire who speaks for Ebamaro, Abunir's representatives speak for the people, not the kingdom. The king, I don't think, has ever...
I'm sorry, Ollie, you cut out real bad. Yeah, you were saying... We missed a lot. You might just want to start.
He said that unlike Narashiro and Ebamari, whose leadership will come to Kavanari or speak at the meetings or have representatives, for the Abunir, for the Deep Dwarves, it's a... They speak for the people, not the king. The king has some sort of sway, but the king is not here. I've never seen him. So, yes, your representatives are usually the ones who disagree on about everything. It becomes a game of what we can get past y'all. He'll kind of like go to Ocean and be like, "Y'all is slang. I'm learning slang."
Disagree on military matters, or?
Very down on military matters, but when it comes to a lot of the affairs of who could control what, especially when it comes to introducing anyone new to the treaty, they vastly disagree. The very act that got the Gnomes of Gokhan into the treaty, they were firmly against, and even though it was largely a benefit for them. You got to understand that for every military meeting, and I don't sit in on all of those because I'm not a military tactician, there are like 10 discussions about laws. What laws should represent the treaty as a whole, what will be universal truths in the world we dominate, and what should be controlled by the individual. Abunir is very proud of a lot of their aspects and wants them to be held as an individual. And anything that we would prefer to be changed, they will not budge on, which is understandable and is true to everyone to a degree. Everything is still being feeled out.
I did not realize that the Alliance had that much sway on inter-border law making.
It wasn't designed for this. But it is something that both Narashiro and Ebamaro have been interested in pursuing, along with the gnomes, to some degree. And it is something that Abanir is largely against. They would rather it stay a military alliance in most ways.
Fascinating.
That's probably all I can tell you. But, it could all change. Or if there was a different seat speaking on the council on the behalf of Abanir, it would be different. If it were slight change in the will of the people, who knows? Changing the war would change anything. Despite us all being quite long-lived races, politics is fickle and can change in a moment.
Isn't that true? Let's drink to that. To change.
Holds a baby.
Baby's
Don't drink the baby!
Cool.
Jericho. Moving on to less overtly political matters.
God, please.
We had a strange encounter on our journey here. A being that was possessed, magically overwrought, that approached from the north. Has there been anything similar in this town?
Seemed like quite a physical affliction, honestly.
It had physical effects.
Show him the jar.
Ashal is not showing the jar.
Aww.
I can't say I've heard of anything much like that. No, I don't think so.
Perhaps it is an isolated incident then. That is reassuring in its own way.
How's your sister?
Well, I think quite happy. I know that her husband went off on some quite large and terrible battle without her agreement, and so I'm not too happy about that, but yeah, that's why she has a second husband, so. Things in the city seem fine, if not, too quiet. I mean, you've been there more recently than me, I assume. What are you doing coming back down this way anyway?
Ursula has us on various errands. One of them, at the moment, she has an interest in a cult that makes its home in Abanir.
The Undersun. Yes, there is much discussion about whether they should be considered an independent nation for the treaty. A secondary or tertiary member, of course, but, yeah. Abanir would never allow such a thing.
What would the stance of the other treaty participants be?
Well, Admara is quite clear. If they have a different enough culture and wish to be independent, they should be an independent aspect on the treaty. I think they would have most people be secondary, because there's different degrees of membership, right? The primary members are we all here, the main kingdoms. The secondary members can vote on meetings, and the tertiary members can sit in, and that's just about it, and get some protections. Honestly, they sound like enough of an independent nation. They seem to be I've done a little bit of reading about it, a friendly group of religious weirdos, but there are friendly groups of religious weirdos wherever you look, in all of our nations.
Really be worried about.
So I don't think they would be a threat, but I also understand why the dwarves don't want to, have another mini nation of dwarves in the treaty that is not their own. The gnomes had trouble with that before we managed to get Gokhan into the treaty. And with that it worked because they had something really good to offer. Right? The gnomes of Gokhan are entertainers and joy givers and comforters. Very useful during the war effort. The argument being that the Cult of the Undersun has very little to offer other than a unique religious output and eye strain.
Eye strain?
They worship a sun. According to the papers, it's quite bright.
As Charles is beginning to put two and two together.
Oh, Shiza, says Oshun.
As Charles just nods, takes a drink.
And you just hear very quietly Catcher Owl just dip their head and just be like, Shiza. Honestly, I think we made the treaty for war. And war is great and all, right? The people of the surface came and blew up half our city, so I understand. But I think it can be more. Sometimes when we talk of laws, we can make bonds that are stronger than bonds made in war. We can make bonds of love. Oh, yes.
Is he looking at that waiter?
He's
again?
deliberately not looking at that waiter. And then he takes a moment, like, that's a bit too sappy. But it's hard to convince everyone of membership.
Why, Draco, you almost sound optimistic.
What can I say? I'm a realist, he says, taking the drink. I think the treaty is a good thing. I don't want it to go away. I think it can make good things. It could also make bad things. I try and keep it together.
Would you say that is a distinctly usurper elf perspective?
Usurper Elf and Ebamari. Though, when it comes to the Ebamari that come here, one opinion is all their opinion. When it comes to the smaller settlements, they don't really send anyone out. And if they do, they're so far away from their song that they're not the same people than when they were gone. You know, when you have individuals like this one and like looks down at Catcher Owl, who is just kind of like looking into the back of a shawl.
What a weirdo!
The Song of Ebamaro is so strong, especially with Orkshua amplifying it. The will of Ebamaro is still within this city, and there is even a song to its own here. I don't know if they've installed the hindbrain yet. Your people were against that, of course. But
What's a hindbrain?
does Oxua ask that?
Is it a big brain?
Is Ocean actually going to ask that out loud?
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Well, I'm not the best one to say it, but the song is the minds and thoughts of the Ebamari, right? All mixing together. The hindbrain coalesces it into a single entity. It's a hive mind. It focuses it, and also projects it. It assists its creation and helps manage it.
But is it squishy though?
Does Ocean ask that?
Yes.
Well, that's the thing. It requires quite a secure location, somewhere quite central and quite secure. So, getting it all sorted is difficult. I also believe it's where you guys reproduce. I don't really know how that works. I've seen diagrams. And Catch Owl will say.
Would you like to find out?
Catch Owl will say. There is different cases for different beings. I'm sure your paperwork does not count for every situation. It goes like, comforting. But yes, you know, Kavanari is a city with enough Ebamari living here that it deserves a song of its own that will be better served for politicking and thinking and art. I also know that you have brains dedicated to war that go towards the war fronts. It's just part of their thing, right?
I have long been distinct from most songs, but yes, it is. For most Ebimari, it is. It would be inaccurate to say the highest form of bliss, because it is more the ordinary than bliss. Without it, there is a lack. With it, there is whole.
There is an understanding of being an individual entity, part of something much greater. Consider it like a market hall of individuals. Each market seller and each person trying to buy from the market has goals, ambitions, desires. When you live your life, you do not see those desires, you do not see those thoughts, but within the song you do. You can be a better individual and impart a better community all through the song.
Oh, you're just adorable.
Do you pat their robe?
I want to, so...
They're within pat range.
It would be wrong of me, but I want to so much. I just pat their head, just a little bit.
The hood like a little bit, and they're like,
Worth it.
Ashal is looking distinctly uncomfortable at Kachal's description of the song.
but there are individuals who are not part of the song. And that is all right too. Not everyone spends time in the market, but they can assist with it.
Some are not allowed in the market.
This metaphor is going too far.
I speak only in terms that other individuals will find it easier to understand. Not all minds can comprehend the truth of the song, even those within it.
It is difficult, nigh impossible to express in our language, let alone a language that is understandable to all.
It is comparable to a religion, but a religion is all so much a part of us and keeps the society flowing and moving in a direction that the people within the society will, without the quibbles of politics and battles.
If we could not all have such a level of understanding of our neighbors.
How do the Ebamari handle the diverse requirements of running civilization if they are a unified mind? Is it just as easy as allocating certain Ebamari to certain tasks, or is it something perhaps more esoteric?
If you have passions and hobbies, then you may pursue them. If the community has needs, then someone will see that. The population is large enough that these situations deal with themselves when the song is singing at full capacity, and even within small communities. That is perhaps what the song is best at seeing. We are the self, and we sing within the song, and in turn the song has a part of us, and in turn we are a part of the song. Now I am far from the song.
Are you ever lonely?
Catcha-al is never lonely.
The cuteness just went.
For some people in chat, it went way higher though. They want the creepy baby.
But we have one!
So the Ebamari have the song, and my people have the caste system. What about near Shiro? I know there is nobility and military doctrine and whatnot. And of course the church. Quite frankly, in my time in Shiro, it seemed rather chaotic.
Darshiro is controlled chaos. So much of us seems destined, despite what you want, to tumble into violence. I don't believe that, but it feels like it sometimes. We can't quite get along or stop trying to control each other. Even when we have well, that was the thing. When a powerful individual can convince the people, like Lathura Dorneb, then we can be united and truly work on something. But even then, there's discord.
How is it that a society such as yours, that is so polarly opposite to the Ebamari, are able to come to so many agreements that the wall disagrees with?
Now that is a big question. I suppose I never thought about it. We're so different, but a lot of our needs are the same. But then, again, when it comes to like basic needs, they're totally not the same. I don't know. Weird.
So these treaty laws, are they mostly about the flow of people between sovereign nations, trade, regulations, and whatnot?
All decidedly boring stuff, I can tell you, but also on current affairs. When the Darkling city crashed into the roots, it was the Treaty of the Deep who decided what to do about it. And then they became a tertiary member. We accepted the refugees. If such a thing were to happen again, we would discuss it. It's really in those moments that it thrives, that we have a joint way to react to problems and crises. And also to create great works and move to something greater.
In your time with the Dwarven diplomats, did you find that they had a sense that their sovereignty was being challenged by these laws, or was it just stubbornness?
I think mostly stubbornness. Mostly stubbornness, I think. I think we usurper elves, maybe we have in common with the Ebamari, that we're okay with changes to the status quo. We can deal with it. We live long lives, but we don't like stagnation. Stagnation is bad for us. Whereas the wall has been the same for generations. And even the treaty, like, you know, this alliance is very different, even if it's doing goodish things. But it's curious. The Ebamari are as spiritualist as they can get. I mean, they don't even really understand material worth. My people are obsessed with things and wealth and the finery and enjoying life while we can. And yet, same goals. Well, partly. We want a lot of revenge.
What you call stagnation, my people call efficiency. There's a saying among the deep dwarves, for every bolt, its socket, which means certain things are meant to fit together, and always will.
That is an astute assessment of reality.
Every time Catchal speaks, Ashal grimaces slightly.
You've got a little brother.
Any more questions for the people at the table?
I'm enjoying this cultural powwow,
Hmm.
but I think I'm running out of steam for it, personally.
Agreed.
Right, who wants to start a bar fight?
Oh, yeah, in.
I smack a chair over someone's head.
A shawl.
Smack a shawl over someone's head.
He breaks.
How invigorating. Yeah, is anything Oh, go ahead.
Oshun will lean over to Jericho and say, "You just need to be yourself."
Being told that by the woman with the spider face is somehow not more comforting. I get it. I see a therapist. I do yoga. And things are good.
He's so great.
Right now, I think we should all be our drunken selves.
He's like completely, like his hands are still up, like mid-talk, and he's like, well, what does that mean? Like he's just processing that for a bit.
And the two dwarves just nod as they start throwing back more whiskeys.
And catch owls. And he's like, curious. A distinct difference in the self.
You get used to it.
Okay. You spend the rest of the evening drinking and making vaguely merry in a non-committal sort of way.
In a real culture clash sort of way.
Yeah.
2 Ebimari, 2 dwarves, an usurper elf, and a drider walk into a bar.
Because the bar is too low for Oshun.
I hit my headphones off with that.
Yeah, I mean, Bogan is trying to suss out Bartov, and the best way to suss out a dwarf as a dwarf is to see them drunk.
Oh, he's drinking.
That's how dwarves get to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
Oshun's just having a merry old time, enjoying her friend's enjoyment.
Ashal is just extremely uncomfortable in every way possible.
Kachal feels no strong
Kachal.
feelings one way or another. Yeah, unless prompted otherwise, Kachal is just like behind Ashal. Sort of staring, but also sort of not looking at Ashal. Sort of wherever Kachal parked. They're like looking in that direction.
That you're cool and different.
Okay, so with a lot of knowledge gained and 2 new temporary party members, Drake is going back to bed after this. You know, he's not staying.
Yes.
What was that?
drag him along. But the
Draco
Yeah,
has
sure.
been on an adventure before.
he got
has
a killing blow on.
He got a killing blow on a boss.
Is
He
he
has
a fighter, ranger, a paladin,
he's
or a
a
barbarian?
wizard. No,
Oh,
he's a wizard. So he would be no use to you at all. Botov is probably, I mean, he's probably like a rogue or a bard, right? After Riker's character.
He sounds like an inquisitive, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's probably like a multi-class. Yeah.
Was that
was-
your computer
that-
going to
That was me. My computer is very sick. Please pray for it.
Wait, it doesn't have a virus, does it?
No, but it has like everything else wrong. This computer was meant to be changed 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now.
Refurbished, that's the term.
Yeah, refurbished. But instead, I decided to release a board game. Like, what the hell is going on with that? Anyway, with 2 new friends in tow, Botov, the dwarven spy master, and kind of knowledgeable lad, and Catch-a-Al, him. You can prepare to go back to the kingdom of the dwarves and take back the Blackjaw. First of all, investigating the cult of the Undersun. That's a perfect place to end off today's session, because we're all running out of steam. But we got a lot done, and chapter 2 is gearing up to be a fun one.
We didn't die.
You didn't die.
Despite our best efforts.
You could have. You could have. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for being a part of it. Before we go, we can real quickly talk about who we are and what we're working on, starting with Jaken. Go ahead and do your tell us about Sundays.
Hey everybody, I'm Jaken. I'm the Dungeon Master over at my channel, which is twitch.tv/JakenZol. And Sunday at 6 p.m. Central North American, I'm running a Alternity campaign. Alternity is a D20 super far future, or at least that's where we're playing it as. And we are in the midst of our final arc of the campaign. The party is gearing up. They're basically getting ready for a planetary invasion that they're running all by themselves. And it's pretty cool. A lot of stuff's going on. And then also we're gonna be gearing up pretty soon. I don't know how I don't know how many sessions we have left. We're not at the finale, but we're getting close. So we'll be starting a new campaign definitely before the end of the year. In the interim, we'll be doing some one-shots with different DMs from our core group. It's going to be a lot of fun. And that's pretty much all I'm doing. So that's twitch.tv/JakenZol if you want to come hang out. I also have YouTube. If you want to watch the VODs, you can find the link in the Twitch channel. And then you can also follow us at Twitter. That's at Diroll, which is, I think that's what you use for my placard, right? Perfect. Yeah, so that's me. And I'm getting better at these whole shout-out things. Anyway, and of course, once again, thanks, Ollie, for letting me be on here and letting me stick around far past my expiration
your
date.
use-by date, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You've gone from being like a temporary character to a main character to the main character.
Yeah. It's, it's like a freaking, it's like Andy Bernard from The Office. I only know about that because I had to stay up before this game and I really wanted to take a nap, so I was watching a bunch of docuseries about The Office on YouTube. I don't watch The Office. I don't like The Office. But now I know a lot about the character arcs. Excellente. I also think Ian is excellente.
Oh.
I continue to challenge and give Ian fun things to scheme about and deal with. And this chapter will be no shortage now that you have little brother Catch-a-Al.
I can barely talk to Catch-a-Al, but that just yeah.
I love this.
Cringy little brother. Just wait until he starts doing Fortnite dances.
Oh god.
You've got a little dende to stare at you.
Yes, I am Ian. I do not have a Twitch channel. What I do have is an extremely high presence ratio in all of Ollie's D&D. I am in practically everything. that
High
Ollie
levels
does.
of Ian reported. High Ian levels.
Yeah. At the moment, the other Ollie game that I am part of is a Monday game that is released on Ollie's Patreon. That is audio only, but it is a lot of fun. It's a bit more chill, a bit more traditional D&D.
Yeah.
On Monday, there was an incident involving a dragon and a lot of crabs. As there tends to be when my character's involved, there were lots of crabs.
Oh, it's so many. The crab engine needs such a long time to prepare.
It could have been worse, Ollie. I realized third level spells I could have I decided against taking conjure animals, which would have allowed me to summon 8 0 CR crabs.
More crabs.
I think you need more crabs.
I'm pretty sure if I'd done that, you would have just had rocks fall on my character.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna break my veganism just to eat a crab in front of you.
But yeah, go subscribe to his Patreon for $5 a month to get access to that. It's good fun.
Sorry.
You
Gotcha.
made me yawn.
Gotcha.
Ollie and I are working on some really fun things. We're working on a little story, which is a lot of fun. We're working on the board game, which is also a lot of fun and should be coming out soon. There's more information on Board Game Geek, of which I am the forum moderator. So if you want to come have a chat, come to Board Game Geek. Schism. : Immolation of Oathar. Oath.
Yeah, I like to add names that you guys have a hard time pronouncing. That's partly why Catcha-Al is named Catcha-Al. But I like that one. It's a cute name.
It makes me think of like grasping.
I like that chat, everyone have spelled it differently, pointing out they're like deliberately wrong. I think this is a good running joke.
Ow.
I also would like...
catch an owl out of the air.
I made the first Pokemon joke, so
Oh.
definitely winning. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, we have a bunch of cool stuff coming down the line. Schism is, of course, coming very soon. And me and Zoe have done a lot of writing for it, as you know, a lot of designing and just generally involved. You can find out more about that on the Discord. Also, just so you know, if you are interested in being a part of the Jarviskjir wiki, ask on the Discord. I see a couple of people sometimes ago inquiring about it. You talk on Discord. It's you know, we don't want you know, weird people on there. We only want authorized writers. So if you're interested in that, let us know there. Also, the Discord is a great place to discuss kind of what's going on, especially between games, especially if you're watching the VOD and you want to discuss it with people. You can also discuss it on the YouTube VODs. And we occasionally discuss things during chill streams that happen pretty much every day-ish on the rest of his channel. Also on Fridays, I am at Fable Scraps on Doomlore. The other way around. That is a really good game that is kind of gearing up towards its end. So there's a lot of big, crazy action sequences. So you should definitely check that out if you like Warhammer 40k. We're going to leave you now. Next week will be a lot of fun. And there'll probably be a lot of fun in the meantime. Thanks to everyone who supported the show with Patreon, Twitch subs, anything you can do. I'll see you next time.